Now we leap into longitude.
Hello there, Peter Noyes Thomas here again with another edition of Longitude. Looking behind the scenes of the Victory offshore team. Yes, he does work it out in the end. We have a look at the Dragonfly and we test this lovely Geno Sunway. This is the Middle East, and if you'll excuse the play on words, here is the Mecca for businessmen, tourists and sportsmen. All with one thing in common, well, most of them anyway, that's called money. Dubai has created some fabulous sports facilities and is pushing right here to become an established holiday destination. We're seeing the continuation of the policy set up by Sheikh Rashid bin Zayed Al Maktoum, the late ruler of Dubai, who really did have a good eye for the future. The Gulf, of course, has always been a crucial waterway, and today the old core of Dubai, or the creek, lies behind this modern frontage and facade and still provides shelter for the more traditional dhows, which still, funnily enough, ply their trade as they have done for centuries. But back in this century, there are some who wish to travel just a little bit faster across the ocean. And they wish to carry more as well, oil being one of the main trades here, of course. But also leisure sporting activity. These days, the Dubai Offshore International is a big event. That's if the weather gives it a chance.
Today it's a little bit too rough for them to hold the event. It might be all right for some bigger boats, but the smaller boats might have some trouble, so they want safety first, so they'll hold it later on.
Powerboat racing here in Dubai is organised by the Dubai International Marine Club. And Dubai is the home of the Victory powerboat team. We saw them in action in the last Longitude, and now we take a look behind the scenes and meet some of the team that make this the most successful powerboat racing team in the Middle East.
We're a powerboat racing team based here in Dubai. We compete with UIM-2 and UIM-3 boats at this time. Basically, we race all the Middle Eastern races, and we've raced a couple races in the States and hope to go to Europe someday. UIM-2 is our biggest class at this time. UIM-3 is our smaller class. It's the twin outboard is UIM-3, or the S boats. The M boats are the UIM-2 boats.
Now, in its third year, the Dubai Victory team was inaugurated on January the 20th in 1989. They entered their first event with 3 boats. Since then, things have grown considerably. Experience, technology, personnel, and equipment. In the first year of competition, the Victory team cleaned up a remarkable 14 trophies. And in 1990, the team dominated the second half of the season in Dubai, Kuwait and Bahrain. In fact, Victory remained completely unbeaten in Class A races out in the Gulf. In the summer of 1990, having dominated the Middle East scene, Victory turned its attention to the States. 1 month and 3 races later, the boys returned to Dubai with 2 first positions, 2 runners-up slots, and 2 world speed records. The Dubai Victory team had come of age. So to what do they owe their success? Some say that money can buy the best and therefore buy the results. But in these rich waters, many have invested small fortunes in powerboat teams and not even touched the wake of the Victory team. Attention to detail, precise planning and the best facilities are part of the secret of success. In the workshops, they can not only prepare and maintain, but completely build boats from scratch, if necessary.
Water, they're pretty good. I don't know how much slippage they have, and I don't know what kind of speed we'll get out of it.
Team manager Randy Schism reckons it's the team that makes the results. And here are a few of them: Rashid, Ahmed, Terry, Tom, Saeed, Kalfan, Felix, Salam, Jim, Randy, Ed, Henry, Carl, Obeid, all taking the team to victory, and all under the watchful eye of the Sheikh.
We have mostly U.S.-based drivers and throttlemen. Most of the drivers are local guys. They're nationals. The throttlemen are mostly U.S. I have a couple of European guys that work with us and help us very much too. Right now we have 22 drivers and throttlemen, and probably be 24 at the next race. We have about 40 people total in the team, counting the guys helping build the boats, rigging the boats, and what have you.
Even Victory 1 is a home-built effort.
We are building our own boats. Everything we build is out of Kevlar and carbon fiber. It's all vacuum bagged. It's all state-of-the-art laminations. I mean, it's the best laminations we've been able to find.
Of course, the major items sourced away from the workshops are the engines. Here's Team General Manager Randy Schism.
The engine, we use 2 or 3 different engine builders, all stateside at this point. We use UIM-2 engines that are making over 700 horsepower now. The UIM-3 engines are the 2.5 Mercuries, around 250 horsepower.
Add to these base workshop facilities incredible mobile workshops and spares support, and you start to understand the reason for the success. But running a team like this, on land and on the ocean, takes an awful lot of money. What is the budget behind the Victory team? We asked Team General Manager Randy Schism. It must have been a lot, but he didn't have a lot to tell us about it.
I don't have any idea. Unfortunately, I don't pay the bills. I just work on the boats and try and run the team, but all the billing is taken care of out of other offices, so I don't know the expense.
Whatever the expense, Randy has managed over the last 3 years to weld together a true team of professionals.
Ron, if you guys want to go out, Ron, you want to go out and watch, you're welcome. We're going to check, huh? You think they'll come in? No, we're changing over there. What's your boot? Are very much professional. They take it very, very seriously, and they are, basically we're learning on all the boats we have now for the bigger boats as they come along, and the guys have just done fantastic. In the last 3 years, they've come from very, very new to very, very competitive, and they are very much professional.
So at the end of another day's testing, what does Salim Khalifa Al-Motawi think of the future?
We'll go to Europe and we'll race in Europe in the future, but I wish all the European people having interest to come and race in Dubai. There's a good race. It's in Dubai. We have 3 races here, and a good race for a European UIM 2 and UIM 3. And unfortunately, in 1993, Dubai will, I hope, will hold a UIM 3 champion, world champion in Dubai.
Hunger. The media got a sample of what it's like to be in these super fast boats. The officials getting ready to race. And hello again, everyone. I'm Chris Lincoln as we welcome you to the International Outboard Grand Prix Series. In the spotlight today, the Mod VPs. The man who knows about those, he's down at the waterside at Baltimore, Maryland with us, Walt Yarbrough.
In Heat 1, it was Chip Watkins who qualified first. In Heat 2, it was Charlie Anderson. Watkins coming back from the terrible disappointment in Augusta, Georgia, where he didn't even qualify for the finals. And, of course, Charlie Anderson, he's looking for his first victory on the IOGP circuit. And what about Rusty Campbell, our current reigning world champion? He's here racing hurt after his accident in Augusta last weekend. Will it be Charlie Anderson? Will it be Chip Watkins? Or will it be the current reigning world champion, Rusty Campbell? It'll take 30 laps to find out, and that's what we're here to do today in Baltimore. Back to you, Chris.
We're getting ready for racing action. The waters right now are calm. They won't be that way for long when the Mod VPs get on the water. The International Outboard Grand Prix features a season purse of almost $500,000. $50,000 in IOGP Points Championship Fund provided by PPG will also be something the competitors will be thinking about, along with a sportsmanship award from Easy Loader, who wanted to receive a trailer of his choice in each class. The drivers of the Mod VPs getting ready to entertain the fans here in Maryland. From Baltimore, Maryland, it's the Maryland Budget Grand Prix, racing to end world hunger. Brought to you by Mercury Outboard, world leaders in marine propulsion since 1939. By PPG Marine Finishes, the world's leading supplier of industrial and marine coatings. By the state of Maryland, celebrating Baltimore's 27 coastal miles of harbor. And by Budget Rent-A-Car, supporting the Food Garden program of End World Hunger. International Outboard Grand Prix Racing. The Mod VPs are coming up next. Now the spectators having a great time as they're getting ready for Mod VP racing action here along the Patapsco River. Middle Branch Park here. We'll take a look now at the race course, Walt.
It's a different course for the IOGP, having a very short front stretch and very short between turns 1 and 2. As you can see, the boats will go across the race course, and they'll go to turn number 3, then down to turn number 4. They're starting from a radically angled starting dock, and only if they make 1/2 of a lap and come around, then they'll start counting the laps down towards 30.
They'll go around it 30 times. 1.25 miles. Here is the lineup in the qualifying order. Chip Watkins, 96.5. Charlie Anderson, boat 77, Anderson Marine. Tab Bridges in the muscle boat 22. Plate specialist, boat number 24, Jim Lloyd starts in 4th.
Then Rusty Campbell all the way back in 5th at 92.6. Alan Stoker out of California at 91.4. Roger Meekins out of Baltimore, Maryland at 91.9. And Larry Davis at 90.2.
Kevin Barnett, John Costelli, both in muscle boats, 9th and 10th. Robert Vegley is in the Veco Vacuum Aid, number 74. Ron Myers, number 12 starting position in a muscle boat.
Then Richard Holzhauer in the Don Q. Rum Miss Steinway trucking entry, and Scooter Bonham out of Littleton, North Carolina, qualifying in 14th.
Well, Chip Watkins was the story in the qualifying. He is the fastest, the man on the pole in boat number 34 out of Massapequa, New York. Let's hear how he did it. Here's Chip Watkins.
Well, the boat's running real fine. We've worked real hard this past week, and so has Charlie Anderson and Rusty Campbell to get their boats running and in shape. Both of them are top competitors, and we believe and we hope that we have the competitive edge today.
Boat number 27, Rusty Campbell. He is the world points leader along with Ted Gagush, both 9 points. And another man who has done well, number 2 qualifier, Charlie Anderson.
Well, the boat has been running good. It's run exceptionally well. I haven't really made any changes on it since the first of the season. I've made a few changes in my driving. I just started driving it harder. The boat's brand new. I'm just now getting real used to it. And I've got the bugs out of it. Everything seems to be right.
The drivers are now ready, Walt. They've had the testing. They've had the qualifying. It's about ready to get to racing here.
And all 14 competitors lined up along that radically angled start dock, getting ready for the start. We'll have Mike Herman holding the Maryland state flag high over his head. When he drops the flag, then they can start, but only then. Down goes the flag, and the first one out and away seems to be number 27, Rusty Campbell, as he jumps out there with his nose right out in front of the rest of the pack.
Well, the surprise was that Rusty Campbell only qualified in the 5th position. He's a guy who's dominated the Mod VP competition so far this year, and now he jumps out to that familiar spot in the lead.
And Rusty Campbell came to Baltimore injured. He was hurt last week in Augusta, Georgia, when he barrel rolled that boat. But the mark of a true champion is when you're willing to race while you're injured. He's got a very sore shoulder, very sore arm, but Rusty Campbell, he put it out front. He is showing the way to the rest of them as he has all year.
Rusty Campbell, who won in Los Angeles to get 9 points, tied for the top spot of the Mod VP World Standings right now.
And Rusty Campbell has already pulled out a strong lead. The rest of the competitors back there all stacked up together. What? Oh, look out. That looks like to be number 70. That is Larry Davis as he's mounted up on top of one of the other boats. I can't believe what happened there, Chris.
Well, Kevin Barnett, boat number 69, spun out in turn 1 and then was struck broadside here by boat number 70, driven by Larry Davis. Now, the Chattanooga Stars rescue team is on its way in a hurry. In fact, their response time just 9 seconds to get out there. Unbelievable. Look at how it's stacked on top of each other.
And those boats weigh a minimum weight of 1,325 pounds. I don't know how they're going to get one boat off on top of the other one.
Well, the Stars, always innovative. They decided to sink the back of Kevin Barnett's boat number 69 to release him from there. You saw earlier Larry Davis checking, looking for his compatriot there, checking on Kevin Barnett. We'll take another look at the replay now. This is on the 4th turn of the 1st lap. Take a look at the action here now. The boats stacked on top of one another. Kevin Barnett now being helped out of the water. He'll be immobilized, transported to the shore, and onto the hospital for observation. Just 45 seconds into our Mod VP finals. And Jim Poplin, Chief of Rescue, already knows he has a busy day ahead of him. Look of concern among the spectators as well as IOGP officials after that tremendous wreck in the very first lap. That's the boat of Larry Davis. Let's hear what happened.
Well, we was going around at second buoy, and there was a lot of spray, and I was on the inside, and his boat hooked, spun in front of me, and I went over the top of him. It's nobody's fault, really, just one of those things, and kind of scary because he was under the boat and I couldn't see him, but I got down under it and started talking to him. I think he'd be okay.
Man pinned underneath, that's his boat. Kevin Barnett. Barnett complaining of pain in the right leg and left shoulder.
All I could see was the floor of my boat and the bottom of his boat, and I couldn't move. I was like jammed in there.
Miraculous. Kevin Barnett is okay, so is Larry Davis. We're getting set now for a restart. 12 boats reporting back to the start dock, ready to go once again, Walt Yarborough, for a full 30 laps in the Mod VP Finals.
And Rusty Campbell had jumped out to a lead in that first lap, and now he's got to do it all over again. During this first restart, they got no laps in. There goes the red flare. We'll be counting down that last final minute as the 12 remaining competitors are lined up along that pit dock. And there's Director of Competition Duke Waldrop for the International Outboard Grand Prix, checking and making sure everything's ready to go. We'll be waiting for Mike Herman to hold the flag of the state of Maryland high over his head. Nobody can go until he drops the flag, and down it goes. Can Rusty Campbell get out again? Can he take that lead back that he had the first lap?
Interesting note, Walt, that they, of course, cannot start those Mercury engines until that flag drops. You always wonder on a restart, is he going to fire off, and they sure do.
Of course, all the engines used in the Mod VP class are based on stock engines. In this class, they can use any engine from 142 to 166 cubic inches. However, the engine of choice by most of the drivers is the 142 cubic inch Mercury engine, and that engine is based on a stock 200 block, stock carburetors, stock crankshafts, stock pistons. So they start very, very well.
The red and white boat of Rusty Campbell, followed by our pole sitter originally, Chip Watkins, as they head around the pin here. Many of the boats, of course, jockeying for position right now, knowing they're chasing the man who they've been chasing all last year as well. He was the world champion a year ago. There's Rusty Campbell.
And it is amazing how well Campbell is running, because he does have a sore arm and a sore shoulder. And there goes by Tab Bridges as he takes it around the corner. Tab in boat number 22 with Rusty Campbell up there in number 27, and Chip Watkins in second in number 34.
The Mod VPs, I've heard them compared some to ski boats. Is that a fair comparison?
Yes, they are, because these are fiberglass production style boats. They must weigh a minimum of 1,325 pounds, and they must be able to be used as stock boats.
Good look at our leader there, a close-up look at him, Rusty Campbell out of Augusta, Georgia, driving for the STV racing team, as you can see clearly in that bright red and white boat.
And as you can see out of the back of that V6 engine, they're ejecting a lot of water. These engines, under this type of performance requirement, require a lot of cooling water.
The speeds, let's talk about speeds for these boats now, Walt.
The straightaway speeds in under competition will reach right at 100 miles an hour. It's set up strictly for straightaway speeds. They can probably hit 108, 109 miles an hour, but just right at 100 underneath these type of competitive conditions.
Early on in the races now, even though we have the restart going, the competitors in the back markers as they're known, what are they thinking about right now?
Well, of course, what they're trying to do is trying to find the best line on the race course. When you're back in the pack and all the water is so terribly messed up by the other competitors, it's just hard to find a good place to run. As you can see, some of the competitors moving from the inside to the outside of the course, looking for the best spot. Chip Watkins, number 34, he's back there chasing Rusty Campbell. He's looking for the best spot to pass or to close up on him. Right behind there, you've seen Roger Meekins now has moved up to third place. That young man, it's his hometown race. He's right out of Baltimore, Maryland.
Let's talk about controlling these boats, these engines here. What are some of the controls the drivers are working on inside the boat?
Of course, the one thing that they do have on these boats is power trim. That allows the driver to adjust the angle of the engine. That will either give them positive trim or negative trim. Right there coming off the corner, you can see Rusty Campbell beginning to give his engine positive trim, bringing that nose up out of the water, allowing that air to come underneath and to raise it up. Negative trim right there slams the nose back down into the water and allows him to come around the corner very quickly.
For those who've watched other classes of IOGP racing, you've seen, of course, the reinforced capsules, the SST 140s required in the champ boats. There's an example of one that's coming to the Mod VPs.
That's number 34, Chip Watkins. He's in Fred Bowden's California Gold entry. And you know what? Next year, everyone's going to be required to run one of those reinforced cockpits in the boat. Of course, Chip Watkins and Fred Bowden's California Gold, they're getting a jump on the rest of the teams.
You know, after seeing Kevin Barnett and Larry Davis on top of each other in lap one, I think it's a great idea. Roger Meekins in boat number 38, one of the muscle boats.
And of course, Roger, this is his hometown. It is Baltimore, Maryland. That's where he lives. He's in the air conditioning heating business there, but he is one avid race fan. He goes all over the country following the International Outboard Grand Prix circuit.
Roger Meekins, he is pushing along here as he gives chase. Rusty Campbell leading the way with Charlie Anderson and Tab Bridges. The spectators enjoying some cool drinks and some hot racing action.
And Rusty Campbell just takes it off a roller there on turn number 4. We're halfway through this race, and it's amazing how well Rusty Campbell is still able to control that boat. He is running injured, but running very, very well out there on that race course.
Rusty Campbell setting the pace. There you see the blue boat of the pole sitter that started this race originally, Chip Watkins, as he comes around the pin.
And then number 30, that's Roger Meekins. Meekins out of Baltimore, Maryland. He's the heating and air conditioning business. And then coming around is number 77. That is Charlie Anderson. And number 55, Alan Stoker.
And in most cases in racing, you want to be out in front so you have a little clearer water and also have a chance to hold that inside line. Very important.
Of course, the shortest way around this race course is going from pin to pin. If you're in the lead, you can pick your spot and tell everyone else where you're going by the way you lead.
And the man who is in the lead is Rusty Campbell, as he has been since the restart and the original start as well. The man who's giving the most competition right now, the pole sitter originally in the day, Chip Watkins in boat number 34, the light blue, coming around now.
And Watkins takes it around turn number 4, and right in behind him will be boat number 30. That is the boat of Roger Meekins, and Meekins holds his hand up in the air. There's number 34, Chip Watkins. He must have gone over in that corner. He pops up out of that reinforced cockpit. He holds his hand up. He seems to be okay. That's the man from Massapequa, New York, running for Fred Bowden's California Gold Racing Team. It's the East-West connection, having a rough time in Baltimore.
Lap number 16 officially. Chip Watkins, the report tells us, spinning out, barrel rolled in turn number 4. There you see the Chattanooga Stars rescue team again out very quickly. They're getting Chip Watkins out of the water. You saw him wave early on. It looks like he's in good shape, but they're not going to take any chances again. There is the flare showing 1 minute to go before the second restart, Walt.
And Rusty Campbell sitting on that pole position in number 1 spot. Roger Meekins out of Baltimore. He's sitting in second, and Charlie Anderson in third.
Then it's Alan Stoker in boat number 55. Tab Bridges has the 5th starting spot, and Richard Holzhauer will start number 6.
Then in the 7th position is Robert Beagley, and then Scott Boehm out of Littleton, North Carolina, and James Lloyd in the plate specialist entry.
So in the second restart, we have 9 Mod VPs ready to go. 15 laps of racing still left, and the flag drops and they're underway.
And hopefully Rusty Campbell in number 27 can get back out in front again, because he lost the lead twice this afternoon. 2 times he got out in front, and 2 times he had to go back to the start dock and get it going again.
Unbelievable. What a pressure moment for Rusty Campbell, waiting to see if he can again get out in front of this pack, and looks like he has done that. Rusty Campbell in boat number 27 is red and white STV racer.
And Campbell almost hooks it, going around turn number 3 there, but he takes it tight to the inside. And that allows the other competitors going wide to the outside. Rusty Campbell running injured, but running very, very well out on this race course. After the second restart, he slides it wide around turn number 4, but still keeps it out in front. There's number 55, Alan Stoker. He got a late start off the dock. Believe me, that's what Rusty Campbell was worried about. How he took 2 leads and lost both of them, having to go back and restart, but he was able to get that 142 cubic engine of his fired up and back out in front again.
You see most of these mod VPs with the open cockpit. We talked earlier about how it'll be mandatory for a safety reinforced capsule next year. But in the meantime, Walt, it's going to be a lot tougher on the drivers physically than in some of the other IOGP classes with that safety cell.
Yes, it is very tough on him right now, because not only does Rusty Campbell have to hold on to the boat, he's got to drive it at the same time. If he was strapped in a reinforced cockpit, that sore shoulder and that sore arm wouldn't be quite as much a factor as it is here this afternoon.
So a real physical battle for Rusty Campbell as he continues to lead the way here in this Mod VP Finals.
And sitting in second place is number 22, Tab Bridges, and back in third is number 77, that's Charlie Anderson.
The battle continues on the water here in this Mod VP Finals. We've seen a lot of fireworks already, no doubt about that, in some of the early action here of this competition. Speaking of fireworks, there's some planning going on in this event, part of the Harbor Expo, for a big fireworks display following all the competition here. It's part of the WIS Bright Nights Fireworks Tour, going on to Seattle and Chicago in August, then to San Francisco in October. We've gotten an update from Donna Grucci Butler on some of the preparation for the fireworks display.
Everything is double wired. Firework goes into the mortar tube. One end is hooked to a ground, one end is hooked to a web, which comes back through this cable, gets hooked into the side of this panel. When it comes showtime, power switch is put on. Technician sits here. He hears a cue. He's wearing headsets, and he'll be hearing fire 1, fire 2, and fire 3, and all he needs to do at this point is go down the keyboard here and press his buttons.
The Grucci family certainly knows about fireworks. They put on the shows for the Statue of Liberty Centennial, the Brooklyn Bridge Centennial, the Winter and Summer Olympics, and the crowd in for a real treat following our racing action here. Let's get back to the action on the water, though, as the man they're still chasing is Rusty Campbell. Tab Bridges, one of those, giving chase.
The young man from Gloucester, Virginia, running one of the Mercury-powered HydroStream hulls built by Howard Pipcorn up in Arden Hills, Minnesota. That's a beautiful white and metallic red boat. But there's the red and white that's out in front. That's 27, Rusty Campbell. Still being chased by number 22, Tab Bridges. And right in behind Bridges and closing in is number 77, Charlie Anderson. Anderson out of Elizabethtown, Kentucky. He's in the marine business over there.
Well, I know Rusty Campbell will be the first to give a lot of credit, Walt, to his crew. He qualified 5th, well back at where you usually expect Rusty Campbell to be, the reigning world champion. They've done a great job of getting this boat set up and in the lead. Richard Hulshauer knows how good that boat is. He's been chasing it all afternoon.
And believe me, the job of the crew is very important, because you've got to set it up one way for qualifying and another way for racing. And as Rusty Campbell comes off of turn number 4, he is going on his final lap. He puts the hand up showing his crew, if I can keep it together for one more lap, we're going to win this one in Baltimore.
And he is waiting for the checkered flag now. Rusty Campbell, who has led every lap of this race. There it is, the checkered flag. Through 2 restarts, Rusty Campbell wins his 2nd Mod VP event on the IOGP Tour this season. And he's got to be one happy young man. There are a lot of people, Walt, that thought maybe he shouldn't even be able to be in this race after the injuries in Augusta, Georgia.
And one of those was his attending physician, who was afraid for him to come, but Rusty Campbell came, and Rusty Campbell won it. With him finishing 1st and Charlie Anderson finishing 2nd, Tab Bridges, the young man from Gloucester, Virginia, finishing 3rd, and Roger Meekins, hometown boy from Baltimore, he finishes in 4th position. And Richard Holzhauer, the Don Q. Rum sponsored entry, he finishes 5th. Alan Stoker in the Johns Custom Marine out of Santa Ana, California in 6th. James Lloyd at 91.1 in 7th. And Robert Beagley in the Vico Vacuumate entry finishing in 8th. And finishing 9th, the young man from Littleton, North Carolina, Scooter Boehm, and all the way from California, John Costelli finishing 10th. Chip Watkins flipping and did not finish. And, of course, Ron Myers did not finish, along with Larry Davis and Kevin Barnett.
The official margin of victory for Rusty Campbell through 30 laps, 8.16 seconds. Average speed, 92.8. Rusty Campbell gets 9 more points. He's won 2 of the 4 Mod VP events this year. 18 points is total.
And points being counted up towards the World Championship in Mod VP.
Let's take a look now at the IOGP race schedule going into the summer. July, Sacramento, California, Minneapolis, Minnesota. In August, we'll be in Bay City, Michigan, and one of the big stops in St. Louis, Missouri. It winds up in South Florida in October. Number of people to thank here on our IOGP stop. The first one ever in Baltimore, Maryland. Holiday Inn Timonium Plaza, the official headquarters hotel for the IOGP drivers and officials. Local sponsors deserve a lot of credit here. The Baltimore Department of Recreation and Parks, the Sports Bar, Easy Loader Boat Trailers, Shasta, Domino's Pizza, Coastal Marine, and Coors Light. Special recognition for the hard work of event coordinator Mike Baker, race chairman Bob Baker, APBA official Mike Herman. The Maryland Budget Grand Prix, racing to end world hunger, has been brought to you by Mercury Outboards. Let the legend move you. See your Mercury dealer today. By PPG Marine Finishes, specializing in coatings for marine engines. ICOM America, the official communications company of the International Outboard Grand Prix Racing Series. By Achilles Inflatable Craft, the official rescue boat of the IOGP. International Outboard Grand Prix Racing is sanctioned by the American Powerboat Association, the national authority for world-class powerboat racing. International Outboard Grand Prix Racing from Baltimore, Maryland, the Mod VP class. Hope you've enjoyed it. This has been a trip to the capital of the Golden State along the Sacramento River. They're getting ready for their 6th annual Sacramento Water Festival. Now, what a festival event this holiday weekend is. The red, white, and blue balloons are out. There's action on the water and above the water. Special parachute team is part of the festivities here. And look at this guy. Is he having fun or what? Everybody's having fun on the water here in Sacramento, California. The weather couldn't be better for this IOGP event. A hot July 4th weekend here as we celebrate the nation's birthday. Hot weather, a big crowd, a good view. We're ready for racing. And hello again, everyone. I'm Chris Lincoln with a welcome to the International Outboard Grand Prix Series here in Sacramento, California. On the Sacramento River today will be the Mod VPs. Let's go down now to dockside. My colleague, Walt Yarbrough.
Well, Chris, we're here in the birthplace of Mod VP Racing. That's the state of California. However, only one of the 4 world champions have been from this state. But this weekend, we've got a Californian sitting on the pole. That is the man from Yorba Linda, Mr. John Castelli, in boat number 11. This could be the weekend that this state starts someone towards the World Championship, trying to claim another title for California. Back to you, Chris.
Okay, Walt, and as the Mod VP boats get ready in the pit area, this Sacramento Water Festival is a special kind of boating event. Each year, more and more visitors joining with the local community of this great family festival. This year, both Sacramento and West Sacramento continuing to help make this festival a reality, and it gets more popular every year. Let's take a look now at the course, Walt, from up above. A very different course for the IOGP.
The reason for that, Chris, is that Sacramento River is very narrow, especially between turns number 1 and 2. Then after you come out of turn number 2, you've got to bow back around the bend to turn number 3. 3 and 4, they're pretty much like the rest of our courses, but after you come out of turn number 4, there's a spillway dumping in the river. It causes a lot of disturbance on the surface. Turns 1 and 2, they're very rough, but it's going to be great here in Sacramento.
We're getting ready for racing now. The International Outboard Grand Prix proudly presents the Sacramento Water Festival, brought to you by Mercury Outboard, the world leaders in marine propulsion since 1939, by PPG Marine Finishes, the world's leading supplier of industrial and automotive coatings. Stay tuned for exciting IOGP racing action from Sacramento, California. Glad he decided to drop in, too, to spend some time with us in the Sacramento River as we're getting ready for Mod VP Racing as the crane swings the boats into the water here. Of course, we're getting set for the start of the finals. And as we do that, we'll talk about some of the purse money involved here in the International Outboard Grand Prix Series, supplemented here in Sacramento, California as well. For the season, the IOGP racers go after a purse of almost $500,000. And, of course, they're also thinking about the $50,000 that PPG puts up as the IOGP Points Championship Fund. And another incentive, the Easy Loader Sportsmanship Award, decided on by the drivers in each class, an Easy Loader boat trailer awarded there. Now the fans are ready here in Sacramento, California for the start of our 30-lap Mod VP Finals. And Walt, let's take a look at the lineup.
Sitting on the pole position is John Costelli out of Yorba Linda, California, number 11, the Hydrostream Hill Prop entry. Then Charlie Anderson, number 2, Anderson Marine, Chip Watkins in the California Gold, and Alan Stoker in John's Custom Marine.
Our next three drivers all from California: Jeff Brewer, boat number 2, Neil Davis, the Sun Electric, boat 53, and Tim Dixon, Joe's Marine, boat number 83.
Then Ron Panter, number 14, the Stroh sponsored entry, Dave Herson, Van Dyke Fabricators, and Lee Anderson, sponsored by Country Hearthbed out of Minneapolis, Minnesota, number 18.
Rounding out our starting lineup, Marty Willis in boat 58, Pete Patterson, boat 86, the Pacific Bell Yellow Pages, and John Hall in boat 52. Now let's join Charlie Anderson to find out about getting ready to ride on this rough water.
You got to adjust things beforehand, first of all. If water's real rough like this, you might need to lower your motor slightly, a quarter inch or so. Could use a little bit bigger prop, maybe.
Mod VP qualifying heats were canceled due to strong winds and rough water conditions. They went just with a time trial to determine our lineup here. The flare is up. We're less than a minute away from starting our 30-lap finals of the Mod VPs. They're lined up, and the flag is dropped, and our pole setter's still on the dock, Walt.
That's John Costelli. Chris, he qualified in the number 1 pole position, unable to get away from the starting dock. But number 34, Chip Watkins, and 77, that's Charlie Anderson. They got away very, very quickly.
And the report from the starting dock is John Costelli, the pole sitter, with a dead battery. He will have a chance to get into the competition here as they head around the pin here, and it's the blue boat of Chip Watkins leading the way.
With Charlie Anderson there on the inside as they float out around turn number 4. Now we come down past the start-finish line. They'll be starting 30 laps of racing here on the Sacramento River. But right now it is a drag race between the orange boat, number 77 of Charlie Anderson's, and the blue boat, number 34 of Chip Watkins.
Great look at what we call overlap in racing. Condition existing when that one boat is right alongside another there. Now you see the light blue boat moving inside Chip Watkins there. He has the favorite inside position as he makes the turn around the pin.
And Watkins is used to having that leader's line, as we call it, because when you're out in front, you get to choose the way you want to go. Running for Brett Bowden's California Gold, the man from Massapequa, New York.
You know, the folks watching this for the first time all may see a similarity between Mod VPs. What they may see is the ski boats on some of the links around.
Yes, these are production-style fiberglass hulls with a minimum weight of 1,325 pounds. And as you can see, when they come off of this corner, they'll start trapping air. That is something they learned from the tunnel boats, how to build these boats where they can trap air underneath them. And you can see Charlie Anderson back there as he crosses over the wake of Chip Watkins, looking for a way to take the leader's line away from him.
See that boat buffeting on the water. It is rough water here on the Sacramento River today. You heard the drivers talk about that earlier. Good look there at that blue boat of Chip Watkins out of Massapequa, New York. You notice the Chip is driving with a reinforced cockpit. You don't see many of those in this division. You will next year.
Yes, Chris, because next year they will be required. Right now we've got 2 boats out there running it. That's number 34, Chip Watkins, and number 55, Alan Stoker. They're both running Stoker Sport tunnels, and Watkins, with that big Mercury on the back of it, has learned how to drive the boat with the cockpit in it very well.
Well, what are the drivers in for next year when they have to add these reinforced cockpits? How much are we talking about investment-wise? How much will it change their boats?
Money investment-wise, $2,500 to $3,000 just for one of the reinforced cockpits. What it's going to change on their boat is the center of balance. The center of gravity will change radically by putting that weight right in the center of the boat. It gives them somewhat of a higher center of gravity. Last year here in Sacramento, it was Chip Watkins and Alan Stoker, both running reinforced cockpits, and both of them barrel rolled last year here at Sacramento.
As you take a look at the drivers here on the Sacramento River, let's talk about some of the problems they're having with the rough water. How are they trying to overcome that and control these boats?
Well, of course, we've got a real strong hot wind out here this afternoon, and the way they've got to control it is with the power trim. They just have to trim them under a little, not quite as much positive trim. Don't try to get the noses up in the air just quite as high.
This is the 5th event in the IOGP Series for the Mod VPs, and through 4 events on the year standing, Rusty Campbell is the leader with 18 points. Rusty from Augusta, Georgia, is not here in Sacramento, California, so real chance to make up some points for these other drivers. Chip Watkins was second, 3 points back. Charlie Anderson was 6 points back of the leader, Rusty Campbell. Alan Stoker with 10 points. So all these guys looking for big points to try to move in on Rusty Campbell here today, Walt.
Yes, Chris, everyone's trying to win that world championship. It looks like we've got a problem out of the course now. As the drivers throw up their hands, we can see the rescue boat moving and the smoke from the red flare.
Well, what happened is the driver, Marty Willis, spun out in turn number 4 on this 5th lap. There's a shot of Marty in the water right there. He'll be taken out by that Achilles rescue boat and the Chattanooga Stars rescue team. Taken to the dock for observation. The red flag is out. We've stopped racing here on the Sacramento River right now in the Mod VP Finals with just 5 laps into the event. Getting ready for the restart now, Walt.
Yes, so we've got them all lined up and ready to go. There's the flare. And down on the pit dock, we've got John Costelli's crew. They're down there with an extra battery and jumper cables ready to jump him off when they start. Well, it works, and away they go as John Costelli, he sat on the pole, but was unable to get started right away at the beginning of the race, but now he's back out there. But it's Chip Watkins and Charlie Anderson as they go out as they did the first time, side by side, drag racing down the backstretch.
As we restart, 25 laps of racing now in the Mod VP Finals after that incident. Especially disappointing for Marty to be out of this race when you consider his dad, Dean Willis, is the race director for this event.
Yes, and Dean and Marty both put a lot of work into this, and of course, Dean Willis, Hoygs Marine there in Sacramento, a lot of work going into this fantastic Sacramento Water Festival. But the man doing the work out there right now is number 34, Chip Watkins. He's the California Gold of Fred Bowden. He's out in front of that boat number 34, and it is running smooth, hot, and flat.
We had a report at the start dock. Boat 18, driven by Lee Anderson, remained at the starting dock. He was making some repairs to the seat in his boat before he tries to join the fray here.
And the rough turns and the rough water here on the Sacramento River can cause those kind of things to happen, but you never want it to. As we see coming down the backstretch, there is John Costelli, number 11. He got back out on the course after those electrical problems. His crew got him out there. Very inventive. Always good to have an extra set of jumper cables.
Well, he missed the first start, but he made the restart, and John Costelli now trying to make up some ground here as well. Remember, they started, of course, on the restart in the same position they were running when they had to stop the race in that 5th lap.
And it looks like Costelli has pulled himself up to around 4th or 5th position, but I think he's about a lap down to the field. But number 34, Chip Watkins, he's where he was when the race ended. But Charlie Anderson is not quite as close to him as what he was.
Good look there at John Costelli. Well, let's talk about how he sets up for a turn here.
Of course, they'll bring it up to the turn. They'll start to trim it down to bring the nose of the boat around. And look how, oh, John, he almost got up in the back end of number 55, Alan Stoker, as Costelli set a straight line through that turn.
Not quite the same kind of maneuvering we see with the big champ boats, though.
No, the Mod VPs, they can run a little closer together because they're not running quite the top speeds. They're off about 40 miles an hour off the champ boats, and they can set up a little harder and tighter on the turns.
Well, Chip Watkins continues to lead the way in the California Gold Bowden Racing Team Special. And now we're going to check in with Larry Bowden. He's the crew chief of that California Racing Team for an update on reinforced capsules in the Mod VP.
Well, the capsule, as you can see, is centered in the boat, and it's very important that the capsule and the center of gravity of the boat be the same. And what we do is we load the boat up for race conditions and then balance the boat with the capsule. Now, the capsule weighs 75 pounds. And so when we do that, it gives the boat a steadiness or a good attitude on the water.
Larry Bowden, the crew chief of the California Racing Team, and he likes the way his boat's set up right now.
And you can see Chip Watkins out there, very smooth running in that California Gold entry. And there's number 26. That is Dave Herson in the MMC Construction Van Dyke Fabricators entry. That's a Mercury-powered STV, Summerford Tunnel V. And you can see when he comes off this corner why they call it tunnel. You can see daylight underneath that boat. There's a V in the center, and then there's air traffic compartments on the outsides that causes those noses to help lift them up.
Not only is the reinforced cockpit good for safety, but you see now an open cockpit boat. Those drivers actually tucked in the reinforced, makes it a little easier for them, not quite as much of a fatigue factor driving in the race.
That's right, because of the 5-point safety harness pulling them tightly into that reinforced cockpit, they're able to actually drive the boat. People like Herson coming around right there, he has to hold on coming out of those corners. He's got to hold on when that boat jumps up in the air.
Good look at Dave Herson there in boat number 26. Dave out of Roseville, California, MMC Construction, Van Dyke Fabricators boat, and they're all chasing this guy, number 34, Chip Watkins.
As Watkins takes it around that corner and he heads back up that front stretch, he trims that engine out. That's a 142 cubic inch stock block V6 Mercury engine, because this is a stock class. That's a completely stock engine, stock pistons, heads, and rods, and they're turning it well over 7,000 RPM.
He, of course, has the good, clean water in front of him there. He is the leader right now. It's got to be a little tough for those guys in the back. The water started out rough anyway. In fact, we mentioned earlier it canceled any chance we had of qualifying trials. It's got to be a wearing factor on these guys and this equipment.
It really is, because out there they've got the winds to contend with, the narrow river to contend with, and now the very choppy water. And the Mod VPs, because they do run a little deeper in the water, they chop it up themselves anyway.
There's Charlie Anderson, 77, out of Elizabethtown, Kentucky. And Anderson Marine, he's been running well throughout the day. The crowd really enjoying it here. Crowd's up over 35,000 again along the Sacramento River.
And you can see Anderson bring it off that corner. That's down by what they call the Tower Bridge. He's running a Mirage hull with a V6 Mercury on the back of it. That young man runs Anderson Marine there in Elizabethtown, Kentucky. He's running boat number 77.
So Charlie Anderson trying to close ground on the leader, Chip Watkins, now. And you see John Castelli. He's running very well now that he was able to get that battery problem of his corrected out on the water. Look at that boat dance on the water.
And that's Charlie Anderson. He's playing what they call the catch-up game. Remember, he can't take the leader's line because Chip Watkins, he's the one out in front. And look at, Anderson coming back tight to the inside. But now he's going to wash over there right in the spray of Chip Watkins, as Watkins is throwing off a big rooster tail.
So Anderson really pushing now with his boat, trying to close some ground here. Remember, this is a 30-lap finals with the restart. They're just 25, so they're sprinting all the way. Wide open racing here.
And there's Charlie Anderson coming up tight on the inside. I tell you what, he has taken the leader's line away from Chip Watkins. Watkins staying wide to the outside. But look at the rough water he's still feeding Charlie Anderson, as Anderson's getting front sideways and really airing it out.
It looks like Chip boat is running a little smoother across the top of the water. Look at how Charlie's bouncing around back there.
Of course, Charlie's back there eating the rough water that Chip Watkins is manufacturing off the prop of that big engine. Whoops, we got another one that looks run out down there in one of the corners. I bet that's John Castelli.
Now, John Castelli has had tough luck going. Remember, he qualified for the pole and spun out there after having a problem with a restart, and now he is dead in the water right now.
Well, you know, he did have some electrical problems. Possibly he cannot get restarted because they had to jump start him for the restart.
You saw Neil Davis, 53, flash by there from Loomis, California, Sun Electric and Directors Mortgage. Chip Watkins has been the story, though, in the start and in the restart, as he has been the man who has continued to lead the way here on the Sacramento River. You can see it seems to be getting rougher out there.
But believe me, Charlie Anderson, number 77, has not let up on him. It has not been that easy for Chip Watkins. There's Ron Patter. He's sponsored by Stroh's Beer in boat number 14. He's out there running for all he's worth, trying to move up through the field.
Well, Walt, John Castelli is back at the dock now. He's spun out on about lap 24 here. Let's go dockside now and talk to John Castelli, find out what happened.
Well, we didn't have any batteries this morning when we first went out, and during the race we were able to keep running for a bit of time, then we finally lost the fuel pump and whatever else. We're going to pick it up and take a look inside now.
Coming down, as you see, lap 28. Just 2 more laps of racing, Walt. They're sprinting to the finish and all trying to catch or hope maybe something will go wrong for Chip Watkins.
And there's Jeff Brewer in the Certified Marine Cellular 1 entry. That's a Mariner-powered boat, and he's doing all he can to try to run down the leader. But so far today, nobody's been able to do that.
You're right, Walt. It has been Chip Watkins ever since the flag fell. Jeff Brewer right now in 3rd position as he's trying to make a move. Charlie Anderson is ahead of him, and then leading the pack still is Chip Watkins. We're waiting for the white flag to come out, signifying just 1 more lap of racing left to go here along the Sacramento River.
And you can see how smoothly Jeff Brewer is running, and that's why he's been able to move up to 3rd position. As he brings it off the corner, you can see it there, tumbling air underneath. Look out. Oh, Jeff got it right up. There's the white flag. Now, Chip Watkins has only got to hold on for 1 more lap, and here comes the chipper.
Chip Watkins, California Gold, boat racing team, the man from New York coming all the way to the West Coast here. And he is very close now to grabbing this championship here in Sacramento.
And Chip Watkins, who along with Fred Bowden, they call it the East-West connection from Southern California all the way to Long Island. As Chip Watkins out there running very smooth, he's been pushed all day very, very hard by number 77, Charlie Anderson, the young man from Elizabethtown, Kentucky.
Average speed better than 90 miles an hour for Chip Watkins, and he has been just the mark of consistency this afternoon.
Of course, Chip has done a very good job. This is his second year in driving for the Fred Bowden's California Gold Racing team, and Fred went all the way again, like I said, to Long Island out there at Massapequa to get this top driver to come run for him.
Here he comes down the straight, looking for that checkered flag to signify him as the winner of the Mod VP event in Sacramento. And there's the flag, and here comes Chip, and the flag drops. And Chip Watkins, our winner of the Mod VP 30-lap finals here on the Sacramento River. And you see the rest of the boats coming through with a checkered flag waving down below.
And Jeff Titus, that's the official starter for the International Outboard Grand Prix Series, just doing a great job waving that checkered flag because they're all glad to see it. There's Charlie Anderson. He's the man who finished second. And I know Chip Watkins going up beside him and saying, great race, Charlie.
We're going to take a look at the final standings for you in just a moment here now. For Chip Watkins, though, it's the moment that any of these drivers think about when they put their boats in the water for the first time at any event. And that's heading back to that dock, knowing you're the winner, getting ready to pick up that checkered flag for that victory lap.
The hardest thing they have to do on that victory lap is wipe the smile off their face because they're very, very happy. You can see him picking up that checkered flag. He's going to be a happy young man from Massapequa.
Let's take a look now at the official results for the Sacramento Mod VP competition. Paul?
It's Chip Watkins finishing first at 90.